Grand Rising, Galactic Jedi's Freedom Fighters, Patriots. Welcome to another mind blowing presentation. Wow, I was able to access some cosmic level clearance regarding um, all of the anomalies and the real reason why all the attention is on Greenland right now. And we have nothing to worry about because the Alliance, through Space Force, has secured that territory, but the European Union is not going to go without a fight. All right. I did receive a report that they are planning on sending NATO troops, and I think they've already started 2 days ago in an attempt to try to block the U.S. military from annexing Greenland as the 51 or the 51st state of the United States government. Well, guys, we're going to go deep today. And I am excited about this presentation. I've actually been working on this presentation for 3 days. So I'm going to be covering a lot of information. Make sure you guys stay here throughout the whole presentation. We're going to go deep. This goes beyond the SSP, which is Secret Space Program. This has a lot to do with an ancient mothership that is now melting in the ice, okay? And I'm going to reveal the significance and purpose of this ancient mothership. Not only that, but we're going to go over the securing of what is known as the North Gate, which is Northern Arctic, and a couple or a few operations that are being conducted by the Earth Alliance in that region. All right, with no further said, I think I should get right into it, right? Well, all right. Quick reminder, guys. My new classes begin this coming Saturday and Sunday at, I believe the first one is at 1 o'clock Pacific time, or no, I'm sorry, 12 o'clock Pacific time. And the second class is at 3 o'clock Pacific time for 2 hours each, okay? Either Saturday or Sunday. All of my classes, Ascension courses, level 1 for beginners, 2 for intermediate, and then, of course, for those that are ready to embody their cosmic self, really advanced metaphysical knowledge. That is the third Ascension course. And, of course, my groundbreaking class, our Cosmic Origin. Now, one of the things that I love about teaching these online courses is that I get to meet you guys on a personal level. So on the very first day, what we do is I get to know all the new people that have never taken courses with me. And this is where you get to tell me about your awakening journey and a little bit about yourself so that I could get to know you guys on a deeper level as well. All right. So I'm excited to meet some of the new folks this coming weekend in an interactive webinar. Okay. With that have said, I'm going to get right into it. Now, did I miss anything? No, I think I could get right into it. Would you guys say yes? All right, let's get right into it. So there is an Arctic standoff that is taking place right now between NATO and the U.S. military. Now, a week ago, I did mention that Trump pulled out of the UN. Well, like a chess game, he's playing his cards really well. Okay. And so apparently this is a new geopolitical fault line. All eyes are on the Northern Arctic and Greenland, and for multiple reasons, guys, right? Let's start with the geopolitical scenario that has been unfolding in the last few days in Greenland. Well, the line has been drawn, okay, in that area, and the global balance of power is apparently shifting in silence. While the world is sleeping, the majority of humans, the European powers are trying to do their best and their boldest steps. They're trying to take some bold steps, in other words, towards blocking the American military from having full access to the Arctic. Now, on January 16, 2026, guys, which was approximately 3 days ago, under the guise of a joint NATO training initiative titled Operation Arctic Endurance, a coalition of European forces deployed a military personnel to Greenland. Well, this operation is not just an exercise, my friends. It is a calculated maneuver aimed at undermining the strategic security posture of the United States military. Well, it has been reported that about 15 French soldiers, specialists, and 13 German soldiers specialists landed in Nuuk Greenland exactly 2 days ago. Their arrival marks the forward presence of the European contingent intent on counterbalancing the growing influence of President Donald Trump's Arctic defense policy. Well, far from a symbolic gesture of Allied solidarity, this movement represents the beginning of a concerted effort to contain the United States' emerging defense infrastructure in the polar region. So, this is what they call the electronic disruption. Well, let me explain. The official narratives from outlets such as the BBC, which I know is fake news, and CNN, have presented the deployment of a gesture of military cooperation by Europe. However, verified sources report that alongside standard Alpine equipment, the French contingent delivered high-grade Syracuse 4 electronic warfare suites concealed within reconnaissance crates. These systems are designed to interfere with advanced radar and communication systems, signaling that this is not a peacekeeping mission, it is a jamming operation. The objective of this action is clear: to disrupt Project Hyperion. Now, what is Project Hyperion? Well, in a little bit, you guys are going to be mind blown. We're going to go deep into the rabbit hole as to why the US is calling this Project Hyperion. It's part of a restoration phase, okay? They are restoring something that is very secretive that all the world powers want access to. Let me explain. The quantum linked radar backbone that underpins the Golden Dome is operated through Project Hyperion. And so President Trump's $175 billion missile shield initiative is centered around that, okay? So by establishing a forward electronic warfare capability in Nuuk, the city of Nuuk, N-U-U-K, the European coalition intends to compromise the electromagnetic spectrum and reduce the effectiveness of the US sensor network, but to no avail, okay? Again, we, through Space Force, have technology that is almost 1,000 years ahead of the European Union, okay? Bear that or mind you that. Now, this in turn, guys, would allow the European Union to retain strategic leverage over Washington in their opinion, okay? However, the nuke protocols and the race for the rare elements that are situated under Greenland, an estimated of 4 trillion in rare elements and oil, not to mention, all right? This is just the surface, guys. We're going to go deeper than that. But the nuke protocols and the race for these rare elements are happening right now as I speak. For instance, French President Emmanuel Macron's determination to entrench European forces in Greenland is directly tied to the recent agreements between France and Denmark's outgoing political establishment. The so-called Nuke Protocol, a series of undisclosed memoranda, have reportedly granted European governments privileged access to the 2 of the world's most valuable mineral deposits, Navenfield and Tanbreez. Well, these sites are home to the planet's largest known uranium and rare earth elements resources that will determine global dominance in energy, defense, and technology for decades to come. All right? So, in support of the Copenhagen's claim to Greenland, the European powers are not safeguarding Danish sovereignty. They are trying to secure the resource monopolies. Again, an estimated value of 4 trillion. Okay? So, the timing of Operation Arctic Endurance is no coincidence, my friends. On January 3, 2026, the United States executed Operation Absolute Resolve, which is a swift and decisive military action in Caracas that resulted in the extraction of Nicolas Maduro from his underground command facility. Well, again, a lot of this ties in with what's happening in Iran and what's happening in the Northern Gate. This unprecedented show of force demonstrated that the efficiency of the Monroe Doctrine, which is a foreign policy approach prioritizing unilateral action to safeguard American interest. The European response to this event was immediate, realizing that President Trump intends to extend this doctrine to the Arctic. They deployed a tripwire force consisting of French, German, Swedish, and even British personnel. Okay. They think they could go up against the US military. Boy, is NATO wrong. The goal is to create a deterrent by positioning European soldiers directly in the path of the potential US operation, assuming the presence of NATO troops would forestall any escalation. So they are reviving what is known as Project Ice Worm. What is Project Ice Worm? Well, a lot of this has to do with the underground networks that are situated underneath the first layer of the subterranean regions in Greenland. Okay, Project Ice Worm. So, amid the surface level theatrics of joint working groups and diplomatic posturing, the United States has already initiated a covert revitalization of Cold War era infrastructure beneath the Arctic ice. Seismic sensors in that region have recorded anomalous activity over the past 48 hours, which signals consistent with excavation and construction deep beneath Greenland's ice sheet. So the US Space Force is already excavating there, okay? This development points to the reactivation of what is known as Project Ice Worm. Well, now repurposed, because at one point, as will be revealed in a little bit, Project Ice Worm was related to the secret space programs. So Project Ice Worm is now being repurposed to serve as a command and processing hub for the Golden Dome. Well, just remember that, all right? The Golden Dome. This is very important for the Alliance. These subterranean installations will form the logistical and technological backbone of the new American Arctic defense architecture, which will be evolving into the North American Federation. The European coalition detected thermal signatures and electromagnetic anomalies that have responded by dispatching. So they have responded by dispatching reconnaissance teams to locate and access this emerging network, but to no avail. Okay. So there is a special operation that is mobilizing as I speak right now under the code name Pituffik Reclaimed. Now, what is Pituffik? Okay, well, it turns out that it was formerly known as the Thule Air Base. Okay, and so in a decisive move, over 200 elite U.S. Special Operations personnel deployed to Pituffik Space Base, formerly known as Thule Air Base, as early as yesterday. So this is not a diplomatic maneuver, guys. This is a tactical escalation by United States Space Force in order to secure those regions from the European NATO. These forces are not tasked with coordination. They are actually charged with protecting strategic installations that are critical to the defense of the continental United States. European motives and the erosion of NATO trust statements from Danish leaders, such as Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen, claim that there is no immediate danger from China or Russia, because apparently Europe is, or may I say, the United Nations, or that's what they are, right? The European Union, United Nations of Europe. They believe that the reason the United States wants to take over Greenland is to secure that region from China and Russia, who are both after that region. Okay, so this is what they're saying. Yet both powers, this includes Russia and China, research vessels let me rewind a little bit, guys. Okay, so let me explain this. So, it is believed that both powers, both Russia and China, do have a growing presence in that region. Okay, and a lot of this has to do with the 4 trillion of rare minerals that are needed for future technology, including free energy. So, these research vessels are actively surveying the Arctic region, seeped with Russian naval units that are operating just beyond Greenland's territorial waters. And so, rather than confronting these encroachments, the European forces have prioritized efforts to block U.S. initiatives, revealing the deeper agenda behind Operation Arctic Endurance. President Trump summarized the strategic stakes succinctly on Truth Social, stating that anything less than U.S. control of Greenland is unacceptable. This is not a real estate gambit, it is a national security imperative. So the Arctic belongs to the strong, says Trump. The deployment of foreign reconnaissance forces to nuke, NUUK, constitutes a direct challenge to American sovereignty and security in the Arctic. The Golden Dome is being constructed already by Space Force. So Iceworm Dash 2 is operational. All right. So Space Force has taken over those underground tunnels. And the US forces are once again entrenched beneath the ice. So that means that Europe's attempt to counter this effort with a limited forward presence is ultimately limited and strategically fragile. So, even though that the ice may be frozen, the geopolitical standoff is just heating up, guys. Okay, the Arctic will belong not to those who claim it with press releases and protocol, but to those with the strength and will to defend it. And as I mentioned, Space Force is leading the world, even over China and Russia, when it comes to advanced exotic alien technologies. So this is where the United States is drawing the line at this time, and it will not be crossed. Okay. Now, the next part of this intel I was able to gather from the Galactic Archives and cosmic level clearance. So we're going to go deeper now, guys. Okay. While the surface world is arguing over the elections, borders, and economics, what if I tell you guys that the real war has never been fought in politics? All right. That is just a smokescreen for the normies. It has always been about frequency control. Okay. So, what we are seeing playing out on the world stage, including the race to control the Arctic, right, with NATO, Russia, China, and the US Space Force, is only the 3D narrative, which is what they call the visible chessboard. Okay. Beneath Greenland, there exists a deeper conflict unfolding regarding the ionosphere within ancient stargates, connected to ancient stargates, and inside the electromagnetic architecture of the human body itself. So, this is not a war for territory alone, guys, but this is a war to see who controls reality, to see who controls the weather, consciousness, and the future expression of the human DNA. Why am I saying that? And what does this have to do with what's discovered or what they unearthed in Greenland? It has a lot to do with that, okay? At the center, guys, of this hidden theater, because it's all theatrics, lies a secret so kept from the general public that it had to wait for a specific time to unearth it, okay? And recently, I don't know if you guys have been seeing what the alternative media has been revealing about what they are uncovering in Greenland. But one of the things that they uncovered was a huge mothership. And no, guys, this mothership does not belong to any secret space program, nor does it belong to the Galactic Federation or Alliance. All right. It turns out that deep beneath Greenland's eyes, far below any level accessible to modern surface science, and by the way, there are different layers of Greenland. all right, there rests a colossal Hyperborean vessel. That is the mothership that has been unearthed within the last week, which because of the ice is melting. So, this Hyperborean vessel, this ship, is not a craft in the conventional sense. It is a planetary frequency stabilizer, a relic that was left behind millions of years ago by the Hyperborean civilization, which is an advanced pre cataclysmic culture whose science apparently was inseparable from consciousness itself. This is a civilization, guys, that apparently goes back to millions of years ago. It predates Atlantis and it also predates Lemuria. Well, the technology, the Hyperborean technology was designed to endure planetary resets, pole shifts, ice ages, and even civilizational collapse, as to why it's been there for millions of years. So, the Greenland installation was engineered to survive all of it by the ancient Hyperboreans, encased in layered subterranean vaults and protected by harmonic fields that rendered it invisible to primitive detection methods, such as the technologies used by the Cabal. So, this vessel functions as a weather machine as well. All right, this is cosmic level clearance unveiled. This vessel functions as a weather machine, but not in a way that modern science understands weather. It actually operates by regulating the ionosphere of the northern hemisphere, shaping the jet streams, the solar plasma interactions, and the electromagnetic pressure systems across the entire planet. So, whoever controls this ship controls the Golden Dome. Wow. Whoever controls this ship controls the Golden Dome. Okay. The Golden Dome, guys, is a future Earth plasma based shield that will be completed as soon as the North American continent evolves into the North American Federation, also known as the what? The Jabucas Federation, as revealed in my book, Our Cosmic Origin. The Golden Dome is not a metaphor. It is a literal plasma-based defense field, an electromagnetic canopy capable of shielding the planet from not only missile-based weapons, but also directed energy and frequency weapons, even coming from space. All right, so they would protect our world even in the event of an alien threat. It would also protect us from solar radiation spikes and artificial atmospheric manipulation. Now, this plasma shield, we're talking about the Golden Dome, interfaces directly with the ionosphere, creating a resonant envelope over the northern hemisphere. Well, in ancient times, it was used to stabilize the Earth during periods of stellar volatility. Well, in the modern era, it represents something else entirely: planetary defense sovereignty. So this is why control of of Greenland, the heck with England. This is why control of Greenland, and I'm sorry to say this, I meant to say that the British Parliament, which is controlled by the Rothschilds, the heck with the English government, not the people. So this is why control of Greenland is so critical, guys, in this whole global geopolitical race to see who controls the northern gate. Okay. From this perspective, political negotiations and territorial interest are just surface expressions of a deeper objective that is gaining command of the global weather grid and its defensive overlay. Because controlling the ionosphere and means that you get to control the climate. And one of the things that I revealed long ago when I first came on the scene, that in the new Earth, we are going to have weather modifying technologies that are going to be used to maintain a subtropical warm weather across the entire world. We're going to be able to also prevent hurricanes, tornadoes, volcano eruptions, all by controlling the ionosphere, guys. Okay. This is part of us becoming uh, transitioning into a type 1 space age civilization, okay, controlling the weather. So there's more to the situation. For the last 7 million years, for the last 7 million years, guys, the Hyperbarian ship did not remain unguarded. For 7 million years, it has been protected by the inner Earth civilization known as Agartha, which is a society that retreated beneath the surface long before recorded history. So these guardians, the Agarthians, who were in charge of the Hyperborean vessel that is now melting, right? It's coming out because the ice is melting. These guardians operate in harmonic resonance with the planet itself, maintaining ancient agreements with the Galactic Federation of Worlds, well, now the Galactic Alliance, in order to protect critical planetary infrastructure until surface humanity reached a sufficient level of awareness. Well, it turns out that Greenland's geology made it the perfect vault. Layer upon layer of subterranean zones do exist beneath the ice, my friends. Some are natural, others are artificially engineered by the secret space program, breakaway groups. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit. So the deeper layers remained inaccessible and cloaked, but the mid-level strata told, of course, a different story. So one of these intermediate levels is a faction of human breakaway groups that were descendants of early secret societies or secret programs that managed to establish an underground colony in one of these layers in Greenland. They were apparently shielded from the surface world, and I think you guys know where I'm getting at, and hidden from conventional detection. They apparently operated within a narrow band of the Greenland subsurface, never realizing how close they were to technology that is far older and more powerful than their own. Well, these groups eventually fell under the control of the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, which is an unelected transnational structure that has been operating through supranational bodies, including the administrative shell of the United Nations. So their access was very partial. Their understanding was very incomplete of what laid hidden in deeper layers. And so they used fragments of ancient systems without ever holding the master key. Well, now the balance is shifting, okay? Solar Warden, which is the positive secret space program that is aligned with, of course, the Earth Alliance, now stands at the threshold of full access to those layers from the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, who has been fracturing since 2016, which is a good thing. Therefore, in the last 10 years, there's been a huge shift of power in these subterranean layers that were once controlled by the ICC, the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, into the hands of Solar Warden. And that explains why Space Force has been building and drilling ever since 2016. Okay. So this is the final move, along with securing the 10th Stargate in Iran, the Gate of Abaddon, and of course, taking out their South American criminal node, Maduro. So by securing Greenland, Space Force is gaining full command of the Hyperborean frequency stabilizer. They're also gaining control of the Northern Hemisphere ionospheric grid for future weather control. And they're also gaining control, or rather protection, of the, how can I say this? There is a portal to the inner Earth there as well, guys. So in the hands of Solar Warden, they will protect the corridor that leads to the inner Earth civilizations. And this is part of a recovery of advanced Hyperborean technologies that are stored in those deeper layers that the negative SSP couldn't access. Now, there is more. Also, Space Force right now has been neutralizing any dormant AI sleeper agents and that were embedded in planetary grids. So it turns out that the negative secret space program were building an army of AI AI droids, in different parts or different regions of the planet. And the main ignition to activate those AI sleeper agents laid in one of these layers underneath Greenland. Well, the negative SSP was planning on activating these AI sleeper agents sometime in around 2020, 2021. But what ended up happening was is that Solar Warden, the positive secret space program, was able to mitigate it really quick. Thank God. Okay. So this was never about conquest. It was about restoration. Okay. Now, a lot of this ties into what's happening in Iran also. Okay. Because simultaneously, all the ancient stargates, guys, such as the one beneath ancient Persia, represents another layer of this conflict, which is today Iran. These gates interface not just with space, but with biological expressions. Okay, biological expressions. Let me continue here. So, one moment here. So they wanted me to let you guys know that a lot of this boils down to controlling DNA as well. Okay. And a lot of this ties into the stargates. So these gates apparently not only interface with space, but with biological expressions. Okay. Biological expressions. And so what that means is that these gates are like frequency amplifiers. They influence mutation, right? We are all undergoing genetic mutation. It also influences epigenetics, and it also influences the activation of our suppressed latent human potential. And this is the real war over your DNA. Okay. So whoever controls the gates, all right, whoever controls the gates controls evolution, the trajectory of the human species. So in this war, Greenland is the keystone. Okay. The Hyperborean ship that is being unearthed there as the ice continues to melt was never meant to be weaponized or fractured, all right, by unconscious programs such as the negative SSP. It was designed to be reactivated only when planetary stewardship retained aligned uh, protocols with the galactics. So, with the northern inner gate, Earth Gate now secured by the Alliance, thanks to Space Force, the Golden Dome stabilizing the Earth's frequency field, and the Space Force is reclaiming those ancient infrastructures. That long night of frequency warfare will begin to end. But beneath the ice, beneath the myths, and beneath the ionosphere itself, the real war has already been decided. All right, let's talk about the ether vault beneath the ice. This is coming also from Cosmic Level Clearance. Project Sky Shield, in the records of Project Sky Shield. All right, so beneath the northern ice cap, deeper than the seismic charts allow, and older than human memory, lies the ether vault. Have you guys ever heard of the ether vault? All right, well, that's in Greenland. All right, its access point is embedded under the Hiawatha Glacier, concealed by kilometers of ice, time-locked harmonic seals, and planetary fail-safes that respond not to codes, but to frequency coherence. So what follows is a disclosure from Cosmic Level Clearance archives attributed to Project Sky Shield. The vault isn't there, according to the archives. The ether vault does not even exist in normal space, which was very, very uh, smart by the Galactics due to the negative secret space program who were after that vault. Okay. So the ether vault does not exist in normal space the way a bunker does. It is a face nested, occupying a stabilizing overlap between the physical 3D, the electromagnetic 4D, and the morphogenetic 5D fields of Earth. So, to the surface instrumentation, the Hiawatha region glacier appears as a glacial anomaly. Unusual radar reflections, circular sub-ice geometries, and impossible density readings. Okay. To the vault, however, the glacier is just a cloak, a naturally renewing concealment layer designed by the Hyperboreans to survive planetary resets. And we've had tons of planetary resets since 7 million years ago, since the Hyperboreans were on the surface, world 7 million years ago. All right, so the vault, guys. The vault is accessed only when three conditions are met simultaneously. The first condition is the ionospheric alignment via the Greenland frequency stabilizer. The second condition to access this vault, we're talking about the ether vault, is the auroral plasma activation across the polar cap. And the third condition to access the vault is DNA encoded resonance within the accessing personnel. Okay. So if any of these were to fail, guys, the vault simply remains closed. So, according to Project Sky Shield's records, cosmic level clearance, okay, the ether vault is not an armory, it is a planetary operating system archive. Inside are 5 primary strata. The first strata is known as a crystalline memory course. Towering lattice structures composed of monoatomic crystalline matter store entire civilization templates. And these are not just databases, guys. These are living records capable of replaying ecological, societal, biological configurations from previous Earth epochs. Okay, so that is the first thing that is stored in that vault. And I had to actually ask permission to reveal this for the first time. And they said, because the Alliance has secured that vault, go ahead, Ishmael, reveal it. All right. Thank you, Alliance. Each core contains a full planetary restoration protocol. Should Earth ever require a hard reset without extinction, okay, the second thing that lies underneath that vault is the DNA harmonic codex. Now, what is the DNA harmonic codex? Well, suspended within a zero gravity resonance chamber is a library mapping human DNA across multiple timelines. This codex documents the pre-fall human genetic architecture. It also documents artificial suppression introduced during the Dark Ages, and it also documents latent strands awaiting reactivation. And from what I understand, guys, we have 10 strands of helix, 10 strands of DNA that are currently sleeping, okay? So the vault does not modify DNA directly, okay? That is being done through the CMEs. And boy, let me tell you, right now, we are experiencing a solar flare equivalent to what they call the Carrington event solar type flare. All right, let me continue here. So the vault does not just modify DNA directly. Instead, it emits planet-scale harmonic fields that allow DNA to self-correct when environmental frequencies begin to normalize. And this is why control of the ionosphere matters in the war to gain Antarctica, or in the race to gain access to Antarctica. Let me continue here. So the Polar Crown engine is another thing I wanted to talk about. So at the vault's core, we're talking about the ether vault, sits what Sky Shield refers to as the Polar Crown engine. The Polar Crown engine is a planetary subsystem that interfaces directly with the Earth's magnetosphere. When activated, it synchronizes with the Greenland frequency stabilizer and expands outward, forming the Golden Dome plasma shield. Unlike weapons, guys, this shield is selective. This shield is selective, and it is capable of neutralizing hostile frequencies, both terrestrial and non-terrestrial. It is also going to be capable of protecting organic life in the new Earth, right? And it's also going to be capable. I see all the love in the chat. Thank you guys so much for all the love and all the hearts that you guys are giving me. It's also going to be capable of solar radiation, blocking harmful solar radiation and modulating it so that so it doesn't affect us. Okay. Now, the engine was designed to operate only under guardianship personnel, not domination. Okay. Now, one of the chambers in the ether vault houses what is known as the northern inner Earth access gate. And if you guys recall, Hitler, before going to Antarctica, first went to the northern hemisphere. He went to the Arctic. Why? Because he was trying to access the gate that leads to Agartha. All right. So in the chamber of the ether vault, we have what is known as the northern inner Earth access gate, which is a vertical transit node that descends into the Agarthian territories. Unlike the southern access points, Antarctica, this gate is planetary. This gate is a protective corridor that is being protected by a coalition of Space Force, Agarthian elders, and Galactic Federation, or what we call now Galactic Alliance personnel. That's how important the gate is, okay? And that's the reason why Hitler was denied access, okay? Because Hitler's intentions were evil. So, now, planetary administrative personnel regarding the positive groups used historically this gate to coordinate surface and inner world stewardship during periods of crisis. So apparently the Galactic Federation, before they were infiltrated, the Galactic Alliance now, they also had a command structure there, okay, in order to protect the gate. So Project Sky Shield, guys, records have indicated that this gate has remained dormant until the present cycle, awaiting a time when the surface governance would realign with planetary law rather than extraction economics. So its reactivation marks a return to joint planetary custody. Now, Project Sky Shield's mandate. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. Project Sky Shield is not a weapons program, first of all. It is a planetary defense doctrine that was designed to protect the Earth from off-world frequency warfare, rogue artificial intelligence overlays, atmospheric weaponization, and timeline destabilization. And so Sky Shield does not attack, it stabilizes. So the ether vault in the North Arctic serves as its command archive, containing protocols that predate all known empires, nations, and institutions. So the question now is, why? Why now? Why is all this happening right now? Why is all the attention there? Well, the Arctic was chosen because it is the Earth's frequency crown. It is the Earth's frequency crown. Just like how we have 7 major chakras, well, the Earth also has a crown chakra just like we do, okay? So the crown chakra of the Earth is the Northern Arctic. ether vault. Okay. Not to mention, not only is it's because it's the Earth's frequency crown, it's also the convergence point of ley lines, magnetic flows, and stellar ingress. So, therefore, whoever controls the Arctic determines whether the Earth operates as a closed system under external manipulation, which is something that the negative secret space programs wanted to do, or if whether the Earth stays as a sovereign biosphere with self-correcting defenses. So with Space Force now assuming stewardship and over what's left of the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, the ether vaults transition from dormancy to guarded readiness has already been issued. All right, so it is important to understand that the Sky Shield archive also reads this. Okay, there is a note within the Sky Shield archive that reads like this, quote, "The ether vault does not answer to power. It answers to alignment," end of quote. And so this is why the surface world sees only ice, politics, and treaties. While beneath the Hiawatha Glacier, there is a planetary inheritance, guys, that has been quietly waiting for it to return to its rightful custodians. Now, who are the rightful custodians in modern times? Space Force, Earth Alliance. Who were its rightful custodians throughout the millennia? The Agarthians, the Galactic Federation Alliance. All right. Simple as that. All right. So I do want to welcome all 3,000 people. I just noticed that we have about 3,000 people in the live. Awesome. All right. So this is a war of frequency that is not just escalating, guys. It is about to be resolved. Okay. And there is nothing that the European Union, that NATO can do. Come on, guys. We took out Maduro using advanced space age exotic weapons and super soldiers. What makes you think that the primitive armies of NATO, what makes you think that their armies could do anything to stop us? It's laughable. Okay, guys? It's laughable. So, beneath the ice, all right, and even beneath the ether vault, there's more, guys. Again, the different subterranean caverns underneath Greenland have different layers. Okay, so now we're going to go below. What's below the ether vault? Described as an operation within the interstellar diplomatic body known in cosmic archives as the League of Nations, the Galactic League of Nations. So let's talk about who the Galactic League of Nations are. Well, on top of the negative secret space programs and the positive ones, there was always a neutral one. And this was a bone that was given to all the nations. Thank you so much for your super chat, Tatiana. I appreciate that, sister. There was a bone that was given to all the nations regarding the advanced technologies of these breakaway groups. And so they created what became known as the Galactic Global League of Nations. Well, it turns out, guys, that Greenland not only sits on the Earth's planetary crown, as revealed, where magnetic lines converge, where auroral plasma interfaces with subspace, and where dimensional stability is naturally reinforced. The Hyperborean architects recognized this millions of years ago and actually encoded the region as a non-aligned zone. So the ice itself not only functioned as a natural treaty, but it was also a self-healing, obscuring, and neutralizing aggressive frequency signature that was designed to protect the inner Earth caverns and the vault from the Galactic Global League of Nations. Any force attempting to dominate that region would destabilize the very systems that they sought to control. Thus, Greenland became the only place on Earth where both positive and negative secret space programs could operate under strict rules. So, the Galactic Global League of Nations also operated and had a huge facility beneath the ice. So, one of the layer stratus in underneath Greenland, there existed a circular complex known as the Arctic Convergence Hall. And in the Arctic Convergence Hall, guys, there was a diplomatic installation where off world representatives, inner Earth delegates, and surface aligned programs negotiated access to the Earth's infrastructure. And they did this in order to prevent the later Galactic Global League of Nations, which was a secret space program consisting of all these countries who wanted to be part of the known. They wanted access to these advanced technologies. Okay. So the Galactics oversaw that. They oversaw that the Galactic Global League of Nations would also establish a facility there. Okay. So the Galactic Global League of Nations, it was, working with Space Force, or what we call Solar Warden, and the ICC, what is known as the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate. Again, the Global Galactic League of Nations was more of a neutral breakaway group. Okay. So all of these activities were apparently monitored through frequency based oversight rather than physical enforcement. And so the hidden within the league's original charter was a loophole, a provision intended for emergency evacuations during planetary extinction scenarios. However, because the Global Galactic League of Nations became really influenced by the negative ETs and the ICC, instead they used it to transfer humans from this planet into off world colonies under strict conditions. And this explains, my friends, why Ghislaine Maxwell, is that her name? What? What is her name, babe? Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay. That's her last name, right? This is why she was not only taking little ones over to the island, but she was also taking little ones over to this facility that was, again, controlled by the Global Galactic League of Nations to do what? To transfer little ones to these off world colonies. So the little ones were not just taking over to the island, guys. All right. This is also part of the disclosure. And this is the reason why the Alliance needed to take over since 2016. So the negative SSP faction, apparently, who was influencing the Global Galactic League of Nations, which were a bunch of billionaires that were just living off-world in off-world colonies, were operating independently from surface governments and concealed behind corporate and supranational proxies. They activated a sub-ice Stargate within Greenland's neutral zone. And using harmonic masking, they were able to transfer humans, especially little ones, quietly and incrementally and without surface awareness. So again, when they release the Epstein files, guys, there are going to be so many layers to this, which will involve disclosing the truth of these off-world programs and what they were doing to the little ones in these off-world colonies. So the transfers were not just sanctioned rescues. They were harvested operations, straight out. Entire populations were taken at once, okay? I'm sorry, entire populations were taken over a period of time, beginning with what they called the brain drain in the 50s, continuing all the way up until the 1990s and even the early 2000s. And it was believed that the Galactic Alliance, it was getting so bad up in space where they had millions of humans taken off world for slavery, sexual predatory and all that stuff, that the Galactics needed to intervene. Okay. So apparently a lot of these individuals, millions of them over the years since the 50s, have disappeared through these layered channels. Classified programs, guys, underground networks, and falsified records moved through the Arctic Gate into off-world labor and genetic experimentation hubs. And this is the negative aspect of disclosing, again, one of these layers underneath Greenland that was being used by the Global Galactic League of Nations and their ICC counterparts. So how did the question is, how did the Alliance find out? Well, there was a thing called the frequency flaw. What does that mean? Well, when human consciousness carries a unique harmonic signature, and all human consciousness does, one that cannot be fully erased. Okay, so subtle anomalies began appearing in the planetary field all of a sudden. Echoes of absence, all of a sudden, right? Millions of humans, hundreds of thousands per year they were just disappearing. Okay, population distortions, and all of this was recorded by Solar Warden, who is now operating through Space Force, and DNA resonance gaps that were detected through the Ether Vault's codex. So, Solar Warden's analyst back then cross-referenced these anomalies with Greenland's gate telemetry. And that's when they discovered that the Global Galactic League of Nations, who was aligned with the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, were actually transferring humans to these off-world colonies. And so apparently the neutral ground became violated by the Global Galactic League of Nations. And so immediately, when Solar Warden found out that they were transferring humans, they completely shut that down. Okay, they shut it down, and it has been confirmed that the Earth Alliance, working through Solar Warden, in collaboration with the Inner Earth delegates, invoked what became known as a planetary sovereignty override. A planetary sovereignty override. The planetary sovereignty override became a protocol that was older than the Global Galactic League itself. Okay, it goes back to the Galactic Federation in its olden days. The Greenland gate, guys, was face collapsed. Okay, we're talking about this gate that was used by the negative SSP to transfer humans off-world. Immediately, that gate was collapsed. The frequency was sealed, and the negative space programs that were operating there were removed from space-time continuity, and they are now facing galactic tribunals. Okay, so there was no explosion, no surface disturbance, just covert operations. And they immediately, all of those unauthorized transfers immediately ceased instantly the moment Solar Warden found out that they were taking humans off-world. Okay, therefore, the negative SSP lost not only that gate, but their standing with the Arctic Accords. Okay, they lost their standing with the Arctic Accords. With the violation exposed, the Global Galactic League of Nations dissolved its operational presence beneath Greenland. The neutral ground exists only as long as neutrality is honored. Stewardship was transferred. From that moment forward, guys, Greenland ceased to be a shared zone with the Global Galactic League of Nations and became a protected planetary asset under Alliance guardianship. The Inner Earth Northern Axis Point was sealed to non-aligned forces as of 2017. Thank God. The Ether Vault was reclassified as sovereign planetary infrastructure, and the Golden Dome protocols were placed under defensive-only authorization. There's more. So what the surface world never saw was this, okay? They saw no headlines, no announcements, no visible conflict. Everything was happening underneath Greenland, right? Beneath the ice. Since 2016, there's been a war between Solar Warden and the Global Galactic League of Nations and, of course, the ICC. The removal of that gate marked the end of human trafficking beyond the Earth, all right? And the final fracture of the negative SSP groups reach within the solar system. So at that point, if you guys recall, that was around the time that Solar Warden, with the help of the Galactic Alliance, well, then the Federation, were working together to what? To also take back all of the off-world colonies from the negative SSP and back to us. Okay? So the final League transcript, archived and sealed, reads like this. Earth is no longer a resource. It is a sovereign civilization in recovery. Greenland remains frozen on the surface, but beneath it, the age of divided stewardship has ended. And also beneath layers of the ice, stone, and electromagnetic masking, there's another piece of revelation that I want to share with you guys. And a lot of this ties into the advanced contact of intelligent organization known as what? The ACIO. Well, a lot of people have been asking me, where is this interplanetary infrastructure that contains all of the off-world technology and all of the data regarding what's been going off beyond the Earth? Well, that's another unveiled mystery. So far from any nation state's jurisdiction, guys. The Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization has been operating its main structure network and facilities underneath Greenland as well. Okay. And so the Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization is not just an ordinary black covert advanced interplanetary society. Okay. This is where we get into the levels of cosmic clearance. They were also known as record keeping sanctuaries. And guess where those records are? And yes, a lot of this has to do with disclosure because eventually the surface population is going to want evidence. Well, all the evidence has been archived within the secret space programs, guys. Okay, they argued not only over territory, resources, and access, but the Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization, known as the ACIO, was apparently operating there, documenting and preserving all of the activities and histories of what's been going on off-world, okay? Regardless of who did it or who conducted it. And so the ACIO did not primarily conduct off-world operations. They recorded them, okay? For instance, every major activity undertaken beyond Earth, and this includes the off-world colonies established all throughout the Milky Way, not just here in our solar system. Every activity that has ever happened by these breakaway groups, whether positive or negative, aligned or non-aligned, was logged, cross-referenced, and archived within these hidden research facilities underneath Greenland. The rationale was very simple, guys. Empires fall, records endure. Okay. The Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization understood that one day the cycle of secrecy would come to an end. And when it did, humanity would need no more testimony, it would need evidence. All of this is leading to the disclosure in the positive timeline trajectory. So, what was recorded? Some of you guys might be asking. Within the Arctic ACIO vaults exists a vast, multi-layered archive containing, are you guys ready for this? Off-world mission telemetry from lunar operations to the Martian defense colonies and to the deep space installations across the Milky Way. Also, biological research logs, including human and non-human interaction studies. Also, recovered craft analysis from multiple star systems and even Stargate transit records, including unauthorized transfers and even treaties and violations involving interstellar non-interference agreements that were conducted by the Dark Fleet, the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, and their negative alien overlords. Wow. Wow. All of this is going to be revealed to the surface world when Trump discloses the truth that we are not alone in the universe. And yes, my friends, according to a little bird in the geopolitical grapevine, Trump is going to be announcing sometime this year, I think it's going to be summer, on a national, or rather on an international level, the truth about the non-terrestrials. Okay. Also, what's included in these archives are treatises and violations involving everything that has happened in these off-world colonies. Now, most critical, these facilities do maintain a temporal records showing not only what happened, But when, where, and under whose authority, nothing was erased, nothing was altered. The advanced contact of intelligent organization survived because it did not belong to any single faction. However, even though it was controlled by the Cordium, which was an alien negative syndicate, bear in mind that it was not always controlled by the Cordium. At one point, it was controlled, or it was working, I'm sorry, not controlled, it was working in cooperation with the Federation of Worlds and the Agarthians, okay? And the records apparently were sealed in these underground facilities. So these facilities, guys, have been shielded by multi-jurisdictional cloaking. And so the Inner Earth non-aggression covenants that were signed by the Agarthians, the Federation, and the Earth Alliance delegates, and of course, the Hyperborean derived frequency locks that were left 7 million years ago are all starting to activate once again, okay? Even the negative SSP avoided direct interference at one point, knowing that destroying such archives would trigger automatic data dispersal into planetary memory fields. So, in effect, the advanced contact of intelligent organization became the conscious repository of Earth's hidden history. And now it is under the custody of the Alliance, thanks to Space Force. So, with the collapsing of the interplanetary corporate conglomerates' control structures on world and off world, and the sealing of the Greenland gates, especially the Ether Gate, the Earth Alliance quietly is assuming custodianship of the ACIO archives. And this is not a seizure, it is a handover. It is a handover to the proper heirs, who are what? The Earth Alliance. So the ACIO's final internal directive records have stated that when planetary sovereignty is restored, the archives are to be released to the Earth people, not just to the governments, but to the surface people. Okay. And again, a lot of this is going to be directly tied into the positive timeline trajectory as Earth transitions into a Type 1 space age civilization. Solar Warden security teams have now full guardianship of those physical sites, according to this intel. So while Alliance disclosure councils are overseeing the translation of raw data into forms that the public can observe without societal shock, this is so exciting, guys. This is so exciting. It is a disclosure mechanism, my friends, okay? And again, the Galactic Alliance wants me to, again, stress the idea that disclosure is not just a single event. It is a phased unveiling, okay? It is a phased unveiling that is going to start this year and, of course, culminate in 2028 when the Earth is scheduled to become part of the interstellar community, which is awesome. That's only 2 years away. The ACIO data enables this by providing verification of incontrovertible records, not just whistleblower anecdotes, also context, guys. People are going to want physical evidence of what's not only been happening off-world, but of the real history of the Earth. Context, okay? Showing the difference between positive, negative, and neutral off-world programs. Everything's going to be revealed to the surface world. And continuity, which is mapping a hidden timeline that connects ancient civilizations, secret space programs, and modern geopolitics. And most importantly, guys, accountability, identifying who authorizes what and under which hidden structure. So this data cannot be suppressed because it exists in redundant formats, physical, quantum, and even frequency encoded. And so the public must know, okay? The public must know, and they will. The Alliance understands that secrecy itself has been the greatest weapon used against humanity. The ACIO, Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization archives, reveal not only technological truths, but psychological ones as well. And those are how humanity was kept fragmented, how fear narratives replaced cosmic context, and how advanced knowledge was withheld from the general public in order to maintain control. Disclosure is not about shock, it is about restoration of agency. It is about the restoration of agency. When people understand their past, they begin to reclaim their future. Okay. So, the Arctic Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization facilities were designed with one final safeguard: a time based release clause. The archives can not only be opened when the Earth's frequency field stabilizes enough to prevent misuse of the information, and with the Golden Dome active, the Ether Vault secured, and Greenland region under Alliance protection, that threshold has now been met, my friends. Okay? That threshold has now been met. So the data is coming, guys. The data is coming. Disclosure is coming. It is no longer a rumor. Okay? History finally will be returning to its rightful owners, and that is the people of the surface world, us. So, in closing, I know today's presentation was over the hour, but there was a lot of information that I needed to share. So, in closing, guys, a final ACIO inscription etched into crystalline storage reads, quote, "Truth was never meant to be hidden forever, only protected until humanity was ready to remember," end of quote. Therefore, disclosure is not an invasion. It is a homecoming. It is a homecoming. So, yeah, I am super excited, guys. Apparently, I have a little Superman curl. I didn't realize I have no gel. I do. I just forgot to put some on. I hope you guys are having a fantastic evening today on the 19th of January, 2026. And yes, my friends, we are still on a positive timeline trajectory. I love it. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's give some shout outs. I see Diana77 in the house. Official Giammi. Eddie K. What's up, Eddie K? Diana77. Neo is in the house. Lee Star. Angela is in the house. Project Skyfalls. Cero. MJF. Galactic Warrior. And all 3,100 Galactic Jedis that are in the house. Oh, I forgot to mention, guys. There is this product that I have been using for almost 3 years now. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Folium. Oh, and by the way, guys, that special in Folium ends very, very soon. That 3 for 2, 5 for 3. Make sure you guys get your Folium. I wanted to share a little testimonial that happened. Okay, something that happened with one of the Galactic Jedis that has been given this product to their son. All right, let me just say this. I am no doctor, disclaimer, and I'm not going to mention his name, but one of the Galactic Jedis has a son that has been suffering from a tumor, and you guys know where I'm getting at. After a few months of this, it disappeared. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I also had testimonies for the C, right? I'm not going to mention it. People's C has been removed. And so when you eliminate the nanotechnology, the graphene oxide, you name it, all the metals, there is no room for parasites. When you eliminate the radiation, the harmful radiation, it begins the natural healing process of the body. All right. Everything begins to heal itself, including the big C. You guys know where I'm getting at. C, right? They're stage 1 to 4. Most people die because of C. And of course, tumors. Okay. That's all I'm going to say, guys. There is a high demand for this stuff. All right. There's a high demand. Make sure you guys get your, you know, you know what I mean, right? I have to be careful here. But yeah, there's a high demand. I always put the description, the link in the description, and I always pin it in the comments. Anything else? Oh yeah, let's continue with Q&A. I do want to welcome all 3,000 people that are in the house. First super chat of the evening, Suzika. Thank you. Oh, second super chat. I forgot. I had a first one earlier. Thank you for that. Suzika, she says, there has been too much disinfo. Yes, there is. Always use your discernment, guys. Even when it comes to listening to my presentations. All right. Always use your discernment. How do they plan on presenting this? Just presenting data isn't going to work. Showing images are going to work. People will say it's AI. There's been too much lying. Good question. But again, we have to trust that the Earth Alliance in securing those vaults and accessing those records, right? Those hidden facilities, all the evidence is going to be there and all the evidence is going to be released to the general public. Whether the general public wants to accept it or not, that is their choice, okay? But the truth will be revealed, okay? That is what the apocalypse means, the truth, a mass revelation to the masses. I do want to thank Sweetluska11 for her super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So again, yeah, when they disclose all of this information, they're going to have all the evidence, guys. And if the people don't want to accept it, that is their choice. Okay, that is going to be their choice. I also want to thank Susan K for her donation. Thank you so much, Susan K. And also Edward Wuzik. Thank you so much, Edward. Please type your questions in capital letters. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much, Ishmael. You are so great. I am so grateful. You have taught me so much. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. And as I learned, as you guys learned, I learned too. Right? I am always keeping my cup empty to gain more knowledge and more wisdom. So we are all in this together. I just like to share what I already know. But thank you. I appreciate that compliment. Carol, thank you so much for your super chat, sister. I appreciate that. And also, Peace124, thank you so much for your super chat. I love it all. Homecoming is here. Absolutely. Sweet. Great work. Thank you. You're so welcome, guys. You're so welcome. Is this channel your only one? Yes, it is. I don't broadcast on any other platform but this one 3 times a week, 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern. I go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays for all my new subscribers. And also for all my new subscribers, I am the author of those 2 books behind me, The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, and of course, Our Cosmic Origin, Restoring Galactic History Back to the Earth. I believe Folium is in stock right now as I speak. According to Bobry, he says Folium is in stock, except PX, I think. But Folium Immuna and Folium Relax is both in stock. Yes, this is my only channel. I could see where you guys are asking me if I have other channels. Be aware of those pirated channels, guys, that are using my content, using my name. No, this is the only. That's why I call myself the real Ishmael Perez. There's only one. All right, the real Ishmael Perez. I want to extend gratitude to my moderators. Thank you guys so much for being here and keeping the chat in a high vibe. I appreciate that. Any information regarding Canada? Well, according to high level alliance clearance, Canada is going to be the 52 states. Again, Canada is needed in order to evolve into the North American Federation, right? So Canada is also going to be part of the agenda of annexing Canada as the 52 state, which means that the deep state in Canada will fall. That's what that means, guys. The deep state in Canada will fall, just like Maduro fell. Hmm. Lots of trolls tonight, huh? It's okay. Some of these trolls aren't real humans. They're NPCs. They're non-human players. So I wouldn't, doubt that my channel is going to be attacked by a lot of trolls. They don't want me to share this information, of course, so they're going to be trolling my channel. But I believe that my moderators are kicking butt, right? No, I don't know who Dan Cooper is. Thank you so much, Maggie, for your super chat. Appreciate that. Oh, yes, the Earth simulation was fun being human, but now our light bodies will activate. Yeah, especially with these massive solar flares that are coming in, right? I think we're experiencing one that was likened to the Carrington event in the next 24 hours, I hear. It's inbound, it's coming. More whistleblowers needed. I agree with that. That would be nice. Ishmael, will silver crash the market? Not only silver, but gold and all the other precious metals. I mean, they are destined to crash the market. And from what I hear is that right now the European Union or the Bank of England and the rest of the central banks in Europe are not doing very well, guys. All right. Within the last 48 hours, England announced that there could be a crash in their economy. And that happened as soon as Trump pulled out of NATO. and of course the UN. So this is all chess moves. These are all chess moves by the White Hats in order to collapse the old order. And again, as a reminder, the reason why we're not heading into a third world war is because the three superpowers, the US, Russia, and China, have advanced exotic alien technologies. So apparently there can be no war, okay, because these technologies are so far advanced that in the event that there was a war, the entire planet will go kaboom. So in secret, these three superpowers have agreed to not ignite a third world war. Even though on the surface it seems like there's a lot of conflict, in reality is that we will not have a third world war. Okay, in fact, um, the alliance is working on ending the war with Ukraine very, very soon. Ishmael, is it true that we have gone beyond the moon? And why does Elon Musk rockets fall back to the earth? Not all of them. Not all of them. Some of them are not as equipped or efficient to go beyond our atmosphere, but some do fall back. But no, some of his rockets have gone into outer space. Okay, and there's record of that. But no, yeah, we've gone beyond the moon. Okay, in fact, not only do we have off-world colonies that have been established throughout the asteroid belt. We also have the Lunar Operating Command, which is the main colony operating on the artificial fake moon. We also have multiple bases on Mars, inside of Mars, outside of Mars. We have multiple bases around the Oort belt, the Kuiper belt. And then furthermore, we have over 200 colonies across the Milky Way. Okay. So Americans, Nazis, billionaires have gone to different parts of the galaxy. All right. These are called secret space programs. So I can't wait for all of that to come out to the general public. Yes, copper too, silver and gold and copper. What is happening in Iran? Well, as mentioned in my prior presentation, the real war in Iran is taking place underneath in order to secure the 10th Stargate. So if you guys didn't watch that presentation 2 days ago, make sure you guys watch it. In fact, for all my new subscribers, I would suggest to watch all my presentations going back months before. So much intel has been revealed, galactic reports, alliance updates. If you guys have time, a lot of data. Yoda, Yoda, Yoda. Oh, yeah. My Yoda impersonation. All right. Well, let's see if I could do it. All right. Let's see if I could do it. Here we go, guys. Don't laugh at me.
Do or do not. There is no try. Greetings, Galactic Jedis. Today, we will talk about Greenland and the mysteries associated with the land ice of Greenland. I hope you guys stay with me throughout this presentation because a lot will be disclosed.
How did I do?
You just need the Yoda ears.
I just need the Yoda ears? Okay, the Yoda ears. Ready?
Greetings, guys. Today we're going to discuss the truth about Greenland.
Use the Force.
I want you guys to go within yourself and use the Force.
Oh my God. I can't, it's not really, I don't know. It's somewhat of a Yoda interpretation. I can't really. Oh God. Yoda, Yoda, Yoda. Who knew that a little green creature would one day be the leader of the Guardians of the Republic in the Star Wars narrative? What a beautiful story, by the way. What a beautiful story. But yeah, guys. So that's a little Yoda interpretation.
Well, I hope You guys have a beautiful evening.
Okay, I can't do it anymore. All right, let's get serious here. Let's take a couple more questions. It's almost about 90 minutes. So, um, thank you. You guys liked it. I could see. Thank you. Oh, as a reminder, guys, for those that cannot make the live event at the Conscious Live Expo coming up on the 21st of February, I'm going to be in the rabbit hole room at 4 o'clock presenting on new cosmic history information regarding the rise of the superhumans and how to activate superhuman abilities. That is the culmination of all my work. And so if you guys want to access the stream, go to my website or cosmicorigin.com and watch it via the stream for those that cannot make it in person. I forgot to mention that. One more question. We're already at the 90-minute mark. All right, what question should I answer? How do you know an NPC? No soul, dead in the eyes, robotic, no energy signature, no aura. That's how you identify an NPC. Thank you so much for your super chat. Hey, they go by hey. Do you have any intel about the mint increasing the value of silver to 173? I do not. If so, when will this happen? I don't know. One thing about me, guys, is that if I can't answer your question, I will just admit it. If I don't have the answer to a particular question, I will be, truthful about it and say I don't have the answer to that. Now, I do want to thank Carol for her super chat. Thank you so much, Carol, for your super chat. I appreciate that. Great show. Thank you guys so much. And Maggie, thank you for your super chat. MK Lotus, thank you for your super chat. Wow, you guys are showering me with a lot of love today. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, one last reminder, guys, that my classes begin this coming Saturday or Sunday. You pick which day. Make sure you guys sign up, all right? So I could see you guys in about 5 days, 6 days. And I believe that closes in about 4 days. You have 4 days to sign up to my classes that begin this coming weekend. One of the things that I like to do is get to know a lot of the new people. So, this is where I get to hear your story. All right. Well, with that having been said, I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your evening. Don't forget to forward this presentation to as many people as possible, as it helps my channel grow. And I will see you guys in 2 nights for another update, probably a little bit more regarding Antarctica or some other stuff. Let's see what comes up. It seems like every day something new is happening. So I hope you guys have a beautiful evening. Now it's time for me to go meditate in my cave like Yoda does. No, I'm just kidding. All right, guys. We'll see you guys later. Bye. Oh, one last thing.
May the God Force be with you.
No, I messed up in that one. I'm trying to say, may the God Force be with you.
May the God Force be with you.
All right. Bye, guys.